Picture this. It's Monday morning, you're at your desk with your second cup of coffee, and you're scrolling through productivity advice that tells you to wake up at 5 a.m. and you think about your actual morning, the commute, the emails, the meetings that somehow start at 9. First thing, what first thing? If you've ever felt like you're learning but not growing, collecting wisdom but not creating change, or preparing endlessly but not starting, this one is for you. Let's dive in. You know exactly what you need to do. You've read the books, you've watched the videos, bookmarked the articles, you understand that habits compound over time. You know sleep matters, exercise works, and journaling brings clarity. The knowledge sits there, perfectly organized in your mind, waiting. But here's the truth. Knowledge without action is just an expensive entertainment. So, what are the common knowledge traps? First one is the collector's trap. There's certain comfort in learning. Every new framework feels like progress. Every summary you write, every highlight you save, every page you bookmark creates the illusion that you're moving forward. You're not stuck, you're preparing. You're not procrastinating, you're researching. But preparation has diminishing returns. At some point, the gap between what you know and what you do becomes a gap. You become an expert on productivity who never actually produces. A scholar of habit formation who hasn't formed any new habits. Someone who knows the way but never walks it. Second one is the perpetual preparation trap. When you stay in learning mode for too long, you develop what I call preparation paralysis. You convince yourself that you need one more course, one more book, one more framework before you're ready. But here's the hidden cost. While you're preparing, opportunity passes by. The project you could have launched 6 months ago is still in planning phase. The skill that you could have been practicing is still on your to-learn list. Time doesn't pause for perfect preparation. Worse, the longer you wait, the higher standards become. You've consumed so much expert content that your first attempt feels embarrassingly inadequate. You forget that those experts were once beginners too. The gap between your taste and your ability grows wider with each day you spend learning instead of doing. Third one is the illusion of control trap. Learning feels safe because it's predictable. You can control the pace, you can pause, rewind, highlight, take notes. You're never wrong when you're just absorbing information. But this safety is deceptive. It's the comfort staying in the shallow end while telling yourself you're learning to swim. Action, by contrast, is unpredictable. You'll make mistakes, you'll face unexpected obstacles, you'll discover that reality doesn't match the theory. And that's exactly why it matters. The discomfort of action is the discomfort of actual growth. Fourth one is the identity trap. Here's something subtle that happens when you focus on knowing instead of doing. You start identifying as a learner rather than a doer. You become someone interested in productivity instead of someone who's productive. Someone who's into fitness instead of someone who exercises. Someone who wants to be a writer instead of someone who writes. This identity shift is dangerous because it feels productive while keeping you stuck. You get the social validation of being interested in growth without the vulnerability of actually attempting it. You can talk about your plans, share the content you're consuming, discuss the theories you're exploring, all while never putting yourself on the line. Fifth one is the opportunity trap. Every hour spent consuming content about doing something is an hour not spent doing it. Think about that. If you spent 20 hours watching productivity videos, you could have spent those 20 hours actually being productive. If you've read 5 books on writing, you could have written 50 pages in that time. The knowledge might have made you eventually attempt slightly better, but it wouldn't have made it 20 hours better. The math doesn't work out. At some point, the return on learning diminishes, while the return on doing keeps compounding. Because when you do, you learn faster, you build real-world skills, and you create actual results, not just theoretical understanding. So, what actually happens when you start doing it or taking actions? The first step will be a messy one. Action is different. Action is messy. It doesn't wait for perfect conditions or complete information. Action means like trying your new night shift routine and discovering it doesn't quite work. It means publishing a video that's good enough rather than perfect. It means sending that important email during your lunch break because 15 minutes is what you have between meetings. Knowledge tells you how it should go. Action shows you how it actually goes, and the gap between theory and reality is where you actually learn. Second one is the feedback loop. Here's what actually changes when you act. You get data, real data, not the polished case studies from books, but your own messy, specific, irreplaceable experience. Maybe you're a student that discovers that studying at the library after dinner works better than cramming on your dorm at midnight. Or you're an office worker who learns that blocking your first hour of your day for deep work before checking emails transforms your productivity. productivity. You find out that flashcards work better for you than rereading notes, or taking 10 minutes walk between tasks help you focus more than scrolling on your phone. You discover which habits actually sticks and which one sounds good on paper but crumbles against reality of your schedule. Action creates a feedback loop. Try, learn, adjust, and try again. Knowledge alone is a straight line that goes nowhere. Action is a spiral that moves upward through iterations. Third one is knowledge as a foundation, not destination. This isn't an argument against learning. Knowledge matters. Frameworks give you a starting point. Research saves you from reinventing the wheel. But knowledge is the foundation, not the destination. It's the map, not the journey. The real work begins when you close the book and open the door. When you stop taking notes about what you should do and start doing it. When you accept your first attempt will be imperfect, your second attempt will be better, and by your 10th attempt, you build something that actually works for you, your life, with your constraint. So here are some practical solutions for bridging the gap. Number one is start with a 2-minute rule, but make it real. You've heard about starting small, but here's how to actually do it. Pick the thing that you've been putting off. Now ask yourself, what's the absolute small version of this that I could do within 2 minutes? Not plan to exercise, but put on your workout clothes. Not start journaling, but open your notebook and write today's date. Not build a side project, but create a single file and name it. The magic isn't the 2 minutes. It's proving to yourself that you can start. Most of the friction lives in the transition from stillness to motion. Once you're moving, continuing becomes easier than you thought. Second one, schedule your actions, not intentions. Stop putting work on your project on your calendar. That's intention. Instead, write 3 paragraphs of project outline at 11 p.m. on Tuesday. Be specific. Be realistic about your energy levels. If you work night shifts, stop scheduling important tasks for times when you're exhausted. Honor your actual rhythm, not the productivity gurus tells you to have. Your calendar should contain actions, not wishes. Exercise becomes walk for 15 minutes after waking up. Study Spanish becomes complete 1 Duolingo lessons during your lunch break. Make it concrete enough that you know exactly what success looks like. Third one, create forcing functions. Sometimes you need to make not doing the thing more uncomfortable than doing it. Tell someone you'll send them your draft by Friday. Book the venue before you finalize the event. Sign up for class before you feel ready. Publish the first video before it's perfect. This isn't about pressure. It's about removing the escape routes that let you postpone indefinitely. When backing out becomes harder than moving forward, you'll be surprised how much you can accomplish. Fourth one is to embrace the terrible first draft. Here's the permission you've been waiting for. Your first attempt will be awful. In fact, it probably should be. The goal isn't to do it well, the goal is to do it at all. Write the bad first draft, record the awkward first video, build the clunky first version, make the embarrassing first attempt. Because here's what happens. The second attempt is automatically better. You've learned from doing it. Quality emerges from quantity, but only if you start. Fifth one is build visible momentum. When you can see your progress, it becomes easier to continue. A streak calendar where you mark each day you take action. A jar where you drop marbles every time you complete a work session. A simple spreadsheet showing your daily progress. Make the momentum tangible. Sixth one is doing it badly on schedule. This is the ultimate bridge between knowing and doing. Commit to showing up regularly, even if what you produce isn't good. Write for 15 minutes every day, even if it's garbage. Work on your project for 1 hour every Tuesday, even if you make no visible progress. Show up to the gym 3 times a week, even if you just walk on the treadmill. Consistency beats quality when you're building the bridge from knowing to doing. You can improve quality later, but only if you have established the habit of showing up. The person who writes badly every day is infinitely closer to being a writer than the person who plans to write a masterpiece someday. 7. Your move. Right now, after watching this, you know something you should do. You've known about this for a while. Here's what's going to happen. You either close this page or stop watching this video and return to collecting more knowledge, or you make one imperfect action in the next 5 minutes. The gap isn't permanent. It only exists as long as you let it. So here we are. You made it to the end. And I want you to know something. The fact that you're still here tells me that you're serious about this. You're not just collecting information. You're looking for the push to actually do something with it. Here's the push. Before you click away, before you move to the next video, before you tell yourself you'll start tomorrow, I want you to do one thing. Just one. Pick the smallest possible action related to something you've been putting off. Open the document, send the text, put on your shoes, do it right now. I'll wait. Because here's what I've learned from working night shifts. creating content at 3 a.m., trying to build something meaningful while the world sleeps. The perfect moment never comes. The energy you're waiting for doesn't magically appear. The clarity that you think you need only arrives through actions, not before it. Every video I've made, every systems I've built, every habit that's stuck, they all started with a messy first step. Not when I was ready, not when conditions were perfect, but when I finally decided that doing it badly was better than not doing it at all. You have everything you need right now. Not to do it perfectly, not to do it completely, but to do it. So go, close this video, take the action, then come back and tell me what you did. I will read all the comments. I want to know what you chose, because the moment you act, you're no longer someone who just knows things. You're someone who does things, and that changes everything. Thank you for watching, and see you on the next one.